For 160 years, Moore College of Art and Design has flourished as the nation's only art and design school for women to lead the way in educating its students for a wide range of art and design majors that respond to contemporary needs.
Moore College of Art and Design was founded in 1848 by a very visionary woman, Sarah Peter, who was in tune with the times and wanted to educate women for careers in the burgeoning textile industry. 1848 was also the same year as the Women's Rights Convention in Seneca Falls, where women first got together to draw up a Women's Bill of Rights, which included the right of women to vote.
Over the decades, Moore alumni's notable accomplishments have been as diverse as they are creative. Moore graduates became painters, sculptors, illustrators, photographers, and textile and fashion designers.
The 1930s were a time of a lot of innovation. A Moore graduate designed a postage stamp. About that time, Edith Kaplan was made art director of a major advertising agency. So Moore graduates have been firsts in many ways throughout the decades. The clue to having a long, rich history and a promising future is to continue to change and be receptive to changes in the times and keep our focus on our central mission, which is educating women for careers in the visual arts.
Throughout its history, the college has partnered with industry and business to provide workplace experience for students.
Now all of our students in every major have a required internship as part of their educational experience. We also have a great career center for women in the arts that starts working with students from day one here at Moore.
Moore is also offering a business minor and a certificate program in continuing education to prepare graduates and students to start their own businesses or be effective managers. Moore's renowned galleries and the art shop, which sells the work of students and alumni, provide additional opportunities for student growth and enjoyment. Moore's location on Philadelphia's Logan Square is a major draw for students with its cultural attractions.
We say the city is our campus. Our students walk out the door and they're immersed in arts and culture. As we celebrate our 160th anniversary, Moore is really excited about our present, which includes planning for 3 new graduate programs. We are also completing our $30 million capital campaign. So we have excellent first-class facilities and technology. And we're also excited about all the new endowed scholarships. In fact, this year, Jane Walentis, one of our alums, endowed a $1 million scholarship for our students. So that is so important to guarantee and support more as we move into the future. We also, several years ago, started the Visionary Woman Awards to highlight and bring to public attention some of the women who've had a major impact on the visual arts.
Moore's Visionary Woman Award honors an outstanding woman who's had a powerful impact on the worlds of art and design. Since 2003, the award's esteemed recipients embody excellence and leadership in their fields.
The women we have selected as Visionary Woman awardees are women who have had a national impact with their work and their leadership.
Proceeds from the annual award gala support Visionary Woman Award scholarships.
We want our students to see themselves as women who can also take risks, address some of the barriers that are in the way, and persist in the pursuit of their passion and their vision. This year our awardee is Mary McFadden, who's most appropriate for our 160th anniversary year because she's a woman who has been so multidisciplinary and crosses so many fields, and she's in fact co-curating an exhibition of her work here in our galleries.
Mary McFadden was president of the Council of Fashion Designers of America and won many awards, including the Coty American Fashion Critics Award. Mary combined her love and deep respect for ancient art, sculpture, and textiles from varied cultures to set new trends, yet create designs that endure for decades.
I was first influenced by Egyptian design and, of course, by Greek drapery. And And those two visions passed through all the collections. What differentiated each collection from the other was the period of time, whether it be Etruscan, whether it be from Pompeii. But I thought that they had achieved exquisite beauty, and I wanted to bring it out in my own collections.
Her world travel and her interest in every variety of culture all around the world has created in her a timeless quality that I think is as at home with the gods of ancient Egypt or Aboriginal African culture or Indonesia as it is in the modern world. I think that Mary has culled the finest examples of every civilization that she has plumbed the depths of. And she has always looked for that which is the finest and brought it forth.
While Mary was born and raised in New York, her early childhood was spent on the family's cotton farm and estate.
I was immediately whisked off to Memphis, Tennessee, where my father had a cotton company, which at that time, my grandfather actually regulated the price of cotton. So they were cotton brokers working all over the world.
Mary's paternal roots were in Philadelphia. Her mother's family was prominent in New York society. Both families were avid art collectors. Mary's grandmother took her on holidays to Paris and introduced her to the world of art and fashion.
My grandmother had given me a beautiful 4-inch diamond bracelet, of which at that time I was still a tomboy. And so I traded in the diamond bracelet for my first important piece of art, which was a piece of drawing by Salvador Dali.
I don't know many 13-year-olds who could have a conversation with Dali, but it certainly didn't daunt Mary even then.
And I decided to go to Paris instead of going to college in America at that time. And so I went to Paris and saw what life is like in Paris, social life, and that clothes are really important.
Mary took courses in anthropology and sociology at the Sorbonne, Columbia University, and the New School. She attended the Trapphagen School of Design, where she studied the 1,000 stitches of the world.
When I look back on it, that was a very interesting course, because as it turned out, the way I choose to finish my clothes so that they're weightless were things that I learned from that class.
Mary's enterprising spirit landed her an interview for her first job with an executive for Christian Dior, whom she met at a party in New York.
I said to him, I don't know anything about public relations, but you don't have to pay me for the first 3 months. And if you don't like my work at the end of the 3 months, you can fire me. Or, if you like my work, I would like to be paid in kind. I would like to have 15 each collection dresses of Christian Dior New York and 15 of Christian Dior Paris. So at the end of the 3 months, he liked my work, and so I continued in that job for 3 years until I went to South Africa.
Mary's first marriage to a De Beers diamond executive led to her move to Africa.
It was also at that time that I was asked by Diana Vreeland to become editor of Vogue South Africa.
When Vogue South Africa closed, Mary continued to write for other publications in South Africa.
I became a political journalist for the Rand Daily Mail, and I had my own column. And at the same time, I wrote for a tabloid in Cape Town called My Fair Lady, and that sent me as the first journalist to Madagascar.
During her travels, Mary acquired an extensive African sculpture collection.
When I built my own sculptural school at Vakutu in Zimbabwe, I had maybe 3,000 pieces of sculpture. I was selling the sculptures to about 23 different countries around the world.
Mary also began to collect beautiful textiles for her own clothing in Africa. When life there became too unstable, she and her daughter returned to America in 1970. About that time, Diana Vreeland asked Mary to join Vogue New York. That move would launch a celebrated fashion career.
I had found on my journalistic trips some beautiful cloth, particularly from Malagash, which were silks. And I cut them into beautiful tunics and togas and very simplistic patterns, which is classic of African design. And I started wearing them. those were the dresses that when I came back to America and became editor of Vogue America, that I wore to the office. And they were also the basis, the beginnings of my couture collection. And many people said, well, let's photograph Mary in these clothes that she's made in Africa. In order for them to run these editorial pages, I needed to get a merchandising credit. So I was at that time doing a story on Geraldine Stutz, who was president of Henry Bendel. And I asked her to buy the clothes. She said she would.
With funds from the sale of her modern art collection and a technical staff, Mary was on her way. By 1975, she felt she was fully ready for 7th Avenue.
And first we worked on China silk, and then we did patterns over the China silk, and of course nothing stayed. So it was a long time, I think another 3 months before I found a very delicate polyester satin back in Australia. I found that fiber, which is very transparent, and I took it to Japan. And there I had it converted and colored and brought back to the United States, where I started developing all these various pleating techniques. And that was called Mari pleating, and I patented it under Mari pleating.
Mary's couture business stayed grounded in quilting, pleating, and unique fabric designs.
It's a deceptively simple form, but there's always this depth that not only gives it stature, but gives it real sensuality.
After that became the jewelry. They were all in hand-forged brass dipped in 22-karat gold. They were also inspired by archaeology and ancient civilizations. Then came home furnishings. Then came beds and linen. Then I designed carpets, furniture, and anything you could think of we started making.
After opening a renowned showroom for her designs in New York in 1990 and some interior design work, Mary decided it was time to close the business in 2003.
Well, I figured I had done 90 collections of couture, and I had covered every civilization that there was to cover.
Mary also designed the costumes for a film set in India and visits there each year for a music festival she sponsors. She travels yearly to her favorite, St. Petersburg, and other corners of the globe, and lectures extensively. Mary McFadden's contributions to the world of fashion and design and to uplifting cultures around the world are immeasurable.
I think the greatest challenge for anyone, man or woman, is really being true to who you are in an important way, in a disciplined and rigorous way. Mary's done that more than just about anybody I know.
Well, I think the most important thing is to find a unique expression in your work. You can't ever copy anyone, because then you'll just be like the multitudes.
Mary McFadden's unique artistic sensibilities inspire more students to excel. Her passion, guidance, and generosity of spirit will have an everlasting effect on those whose lives she touches.